This is your stimulus update for Tuesday, October 20th. So as you know, there's been sort of a mad dash recently. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had put in a deadline for today for House Democrats and the White House and the Trump administration to come to an agreement on a second stimulus package. She said if things did not happen by today, then things likely wouldn't happen until after the election, and even more likely things wouldn't happen until February. Now there's no technical reason why things couldn't happen between the election and February. In my opinion, the reason is House Speaker Pelosi believes it's very likely that candidate Joe Biden will end up winning the election, and that would mean that President Trump would effectively be a lame duck president until Biden would be put in place in February. And I think that Pelosi believes that President Trump would be much less inclined to help the American people and spend a bunch of money if he is in fact a lame duck president at that point. So at the end of today here, they ended up coming relatively close to a deal, I guess, if you don't count the $400 billion difference between the two proposals based on the Democratic or Republican proposals that were set forth. Now, the two proposals did contain a large number of similar items, so they were not drastically different for the most part. The Democrats had passed the CARES Act a couple of weeks ago, and that was a $2.2 trillion package that did include a $1,200 stimulus check as well as $500 for dependents. Their bill also provided more payroll support for small businesses, and it would also now include the airlines in this payroll protection plan. In addition, unemployment benefits would be boosted by $600 in addition to whatever your state provides. And their bill also had a provision that would pay for first responders and medical teams. Now, the Democratic $2.2 trillion package has not changed much in recent days. They haven't budged on their $2.2 trillion budget in at least the last 60 days. The Republican proposal, on the other hand, has increased over the last few weeks and is now up to a proposed $1.8 trillion. It has had a very substantial increase from what was originally proposed, but there is still a $400 billion gap that the two parties are bickering over. The Republican proposed option is once again a $1,200 payment for each individual and $1,000 for each dependent. So in this one you would get a little bit more money for dependents, but unemployed workers would get a little bit less. The Democratic proposal had $600 for unemployment in addition to the state, and the Republican option is offering $400 in unemployment benefits in addition to what the state provides. In addition, the Republican proposal has about $300 billion in funding for cities and states, as well as coronavirus testing funds and tracing. Now, the two sides have made significant progress in coming to terms, and some people even, in fact, thought that they might compromise on a bill that was $2.4 trillion, so actually higher than either party was asking for. Now, even if these two parties do come to an agreement, it would still have to go in front of the Senate to be voted on. But the Senate is actually voting tomorrow on a separate bill. It is much more targeted, but it would still provide economic relief to the greater American economy. So the Senate tomorrow is going to vote on a $500 billion package. It is essentially the skinny bill that they put forward about a month ago. And it primarily focuses on extending the payment protection program, the PPP loans that was given to help small businesses stay afloat during this pandemic. And it's also going to provide about $300 in unemployment benefits in addition to what the states are currently offering. In addition, it provides funding to attempt to reopen public schools and for the U.S. Postal Service. And there is a provision in this bill that limits the amount that employees can sue their employer if they contract the coronavirus while at the job. The thought process is that if these people are able to turn around and sue their boss because they contacted and got the coronavirus because they were at work, then they could turn around and sue for potentially millions of dollars, which would effectively bankrupt most companies. Now, one thing to keep in mind is even if a deal does come through and there is a second stimulus package, it still does have to go in front of the Senate and they have to vote on it, as well as ultimately President Trump signing off on it as well. Now, President Trump seems pretty eager to sign something into legislation. I think he probably wants to show his voters that he is providing for them before the election. So I'm pretty sure that he wants to provide something. It's just a matter of, can the two parties work something out and get it passed through the House and the Senate? Now, on the Senate side, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that if the two parties can come to an agreement and get something passed, that he will put it in front of the Senate floor to take a vote on it. And that's kind of a big deal because some of the previous iterations of this were simply dead on arrival. The House would pass a particular legislation and the Senate would never vote on it because it was just assumed that the Senate would automatically reject it, and so even by taking a vote on it, they were simply wasting their time. But in this case, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell did specify that he would put anything that they came to an agreement on in front of the Senate floor for a vote. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of time because legislation would have to be drafted, it would have to be voted on by both the House, the Senate, and then ultimately approved by the President. So that's a lot of stuff that would have to happen before November 3rd election. And then if Joe Biden wins, that means President Trump would be a lame duck president for the next couple of months. And so it's at least believed that it would be relatively unlikely that a stimulus package would be passed in the meantime, and then anything would be pushed out until at least February. That is going to be your stimulus update for Tuesday, October 20th. If you found this video useful, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below. This channel deals with everything personal finance related. And as always, I'll see you all again next time. Thanks.